Hey, welcome everybody. You're joining game number 38 of our 1979 Mets replay using Payoff pitch. It's the Cubs at Shea Stadium here in beautiful downtown Flushing, Queens. And it's going to be on the mound for the Cubs. It's going to be Mike Kruko, who was 9-9 with a 4.21 ERA, versus Pat Zachary, who was 5-1 with a 3.59 ERA and 7 starts. So we have to make one correction on the lineup, and then we're going to show it to you using the 10-inch iPad on my right. I'm going to show you the lineups and Kruko. We're going to have to write Kruko in. We never did when we were setting up the lineups. And we're right about to start the game. So Mike. Now I remember Mike Kruko. I thought Kruko was with the White Sox, or he may have been with both teams. And he's a right-hander. And that's going to be, we're ready to start now. We wrote him in to the lineup, and we are ready to roll. Let me show you the defensive alignment and the Cubs offense. For the Mets, it's going to be Steve Henderson in left, Mazzilli in center, and Youngblood in right. For the outfield, that the usual suspects. Richie, Hebner, Taveras at short, Doug Flynn at second, and Willie Montanez at first base. And behind the plate, there's a little change since it's the second game of a doubleheader. It's going to be Ronnie Hodges. So Ronnie Hodges is at behind the plate and Pat Zachary on the mound. Now for the Cubs, it's going to be Ivan DeJesus leading off, Bobby Mercer batting second, playing right field, Dave Kingman in left field batting third, Bill Buckner, the cleanup batter. Now he's appealing an ejection for illegal substance on his bat, or an illegal bat. And he's appealing that to the commissioner, so he's still playing in tonight's game. Steve Olivares, third base. Jerry Martin, center field, batting sixth. Batting seventh, Barry Foote. Actually, you know what? There's a change there. We're going to have to correct that. Let me go back in, and it's not Foote. It's a guy named, where is it? A guy named Tim Blackwell. Tim Blackwell is going to be catching. Let's see, Tim Blackwell. We're going to have to write in Blackwell and add him to the lineup. We're using actual lineups. And we're right about to get started. Oh, wait. Kruko, gotta bring up Kruko. Yes. Pitcher, batting. Yes, and we're bringing up Blackwell to the catcher spot. Catcher, batting. And Barry Foote is not playing in this game. He's out. He's going to rest. The second game of the doubleheader. Catchers will rest, and it's... let's double check that lineup just to make sure we have everything in order. Blackwell is last. And Kruko is a 14 batting, so we're going to pull a pitcher hitting card for 14. We don't use 14s very often, so that must be pretty good. So 15, we use that. Emergency pitchers, there's a 14. And right before that, it's going to be Olivares and Blackwell. So Olivares, Blackwell, and the pitcher. Good. We're ready to roll here. And let's get started. Let's get the game going. Now let's finish this up. I was showing you the I score. And for the Mets, it's going to be leading off Youngblood in right field, Frank Taveras, shortstop, Lee Mazzilli, center, Hebner at third, Willie Montanez, the first baseman, Steve Henderson, the left fielder, Ron Hodges giving Stearns a rest at catcher, batting seventh, batting eighth is Doug Flynn, the second baseman, and Pat Zachary batting ninth at pitcher. And we get the crowd into the game. And it's play ball. Here at Shea. Here's the first pitch from Zachary. Now, by the way, I wrote down the actual record for the team, and the replay record. The actual record by May 24th, game 38, not including game 38, was 37-24 actual. We are one win behind that actual record in our replay, so that's pretty mind-boggling. 12-25, just to show a little bit of the accuracy of the system. Pretty impressive. Using Payoff pitch, and we're using the fast action cards to resolve some issues like base stealing and bunting and taking the extra base and so on. That's going to be a tough 51 from a righty. It's going to be a base hit for Ivan De Jesus. So De Jesus is on with a single, and he's a threat to steal. We're looking for a 4. See if we get it, and we do not. So we're going to roll for Ted Sizemore. And that's a 10, in play 54. That's a grounder to second base. We rolled a 10, so that's going to be out of double play range. It's going to be a fielder's choice, a 4-6 fielder's choice. Sizemore is going to be on. And De Jesus is forced out at second. Sizemore not a threat to steal. It's Billy Buckner now. Now, Billy Buckner was ejected from the first game. And I guess he's allowed to come back for the second game because he's back. I don't know if that meant he was ejected for the day. But I guess we gave a call to the commissioner. 9. Now, I really didn't have to eject him because I'm playing the actual lineups. But I did that for fun. And that's a 9, in play 53, and that's going to be a fly ball left field, Steve Henderson. And that retires a side. Oh, actually, no, that's 2 outs. Excuse me. That's 2 outs, and it's Kingman. Wait a second. What's going on? Okay, that was Mercer. Now it's Buckner. It was Mercer. Wait a second. I'm out of order here. Sizemore wasn't batting second. Let me double check this lineup again. Started this game right away. And Sizemore is batting second, so I just have to change it on my... All right, so fielder's choice. And it was Kingman. Kingman flies out to left. So Kingman flies out to left. Kingman flies out to left. Let's do that. So Sizemore is batting second. All right, Mercer, Kingman, and that should be. So as a fielder's choice, 4-6, that puts Sizemore on at first, and then it was Mercer flies out to left. Mercer flies out to left. And we still have that there. It's a 50. It was a 9. In play 53. A 9 was in play 53. It's going to be out range. And it's a fly out to left. And back to first goes Sizemore. And now we have, wait a second, 50. Yeah. Okay, let's double check that. Mercer is batting third. Buckner's batting fifth. After Kingman, so Buckner hasn't batted. Then it's Olivares, Martin, and Blackwell. All right, we got the cards together now. It's Dave Kingman with a runner on first, two outs. There's the pitch from Zachary, right-hander. That's a patient 50. A patient 50 is a hit by pitch, so Kingman gets plunked, and that puts runners on first and second now with 2 out, and it's Billy Buckner. And that's a 6 patient 53. A patient 53. It's going to be an out range. That's going to be a fly ball left field lifted to Henderson. Has it in his sights and puts it away. Side retired. We go to the bottom of the first. Mike Krukow. Mike Krukow was 9-9 with a 4.21 ERA facing Joel Youngblood. A patient 49. and that's a single. So Youngblood singles to lead it off, and he's a threat to steal. We need a 4, and we do not get it. Frankie Tavares, and that's a tough 62. It's a fly ball to right. Mercer there makes a catch, 1 down. Lee Mazzilli. Wheelhouse, 72. That's a ground to second base. Youngblood hustles into second, and Mazzilli's out 4-3. And with Mazzilli, with Youngblood over at second base, now we have Richie Hebner. There's the pitch to Hebner. That's a tough snake eyes. It's gonna be a strikeout. So Hebner down on strikes to retire the side. Go to top of the second now. Pat Zachary against Steve Oliveras. Here's the pitch. That's in play, 97. Fly ball left. Steve Henderson, 1 down. Jerry Martin in play, 55. It's a ground to the third. Richie Hebner fires the first and gets him. Two down, and it's Tim Blackwell. Switch hitting catcher. I didn't know he was a switch hitter. You got to put him in there as a switch hitter. Not that it matters, just the aesthetics. And it's in play, 73. Outrange. Fly ball to center. Out number 3. And now we go to the bottom of the second. It's going to be Willie Montanez, Steve Henderson, and Ron Hodges leading it off versus Mike Krukow. Here's the pitch to Montanez, and that's a 9. That's patient, a patient 81. That's a fly ball center field. Jerry Martin runs it down, 2 down. Stevie Henderson, patient 69. That's right out of range. That's going to be a ground ball, second base. Ted Sizemore flips to Buckner, 2 down. And Ron Hodges. And that's ballpark 98. That's going to be in play. And a 91 in play. That's an out. And that's line, second base, Sizemore with the grab. We go to top of the third. Now we're starting to move, get into a little rhythm. It's the pitcher. Krukow is a 14. Pitcher hitting card. That's a 9. That's in play 19. And in play 19, oh boy, that's a single. No doubt about that. It goes all the way to 37. So Krukow is a good hitter. And he's on at first. Won't be stealing. It's Ivan De Jesus. That's a 4. A tough 59. Tough 59. Just makes it in the out range. And it's a fly ball to right. Youngblood. 1 down. Next is Ted Sizemore. In play 30. That's going to be a wild pitch. So over to second goes Krukow. Sizemore still at bat. Now Sizemore versus righties batted 281. Doesn't hit very well against lefties, 183. And that's Wheelhouse. Wheelhouse 93 is going to be an out range. And that's going to be a fly ball to left field. And Krukow's going to hold there at second base. Now 2 outs. Bobby Mercer. Whoa, what? Okay, that didn't make me happy. We got more dice somewhere. Let's see. And that's what we're using right there, so no problem. And that's a 5, tough, a tough 48. Tough 48 is the fly ball left. Henderson, side retired. So for the Mets is going to be Flynn, Zachary, and then the lineup turns over and it's going to be Youngblood. So here's Flynn. And that's a 10. That's a range. So we're looking for a range here. 99, a range 99. on third base is going to be out of range, so that's going to be an out. It's 5-3, put out. One down. Won't be playing early tomorrow. Well, in the morning I'll be playing. Just won't be playing in the evening early because I have a baseball game, varsity baseball game with my son. And Pat Zachary, who's a 5, that's a 9. That's patient 99. That's going to be popped up to the left side on Averos. Makes the catch for 2 outs. And it's Joe Youngblood. And patient 25. That's going to be a base on balls. Youngblood on with a walk, with 2-out walk. And Youngblood may run. He's 18 stolen bases. And that's a 3, and he does. He's a C. And I think is Blackwell. Blackwell is a 4, so a C4. I think is going to be a C4 is going to be very good. You can see it right there. So we're going to pull a card and see what happens here. So Youngblood is taking off. There he goes to second. Very good as a stolen base and a potential error. So he is a 4-armed. Let's see what he is in the error area. He's a 1 error, so that's an advantage. So if it's we're gonna roll. If it's higher than a 1, well, it has to be higher than a 1 as long as it's not a 1, and it is a 1. Now we gotta read what it's. I didn't want that to happen because now I gotta pull it. Okay. Oh boy. What happens with an error then? And it's an E. Stealing. Okay. Runner advances equal or less, or if result is equal or less than the catcher's E rating. Oh, the E rating of 1 would be. What is that? Runner safe with stolen base. Roll 1d6. If higher than the catcher's E rating. Okay. If equal, then there's no error. End of story. Okay, so there's no error. So it's a stolen base for Youngblood. Youngblood is at second. Frank Taveras now the batter. That was fun. And that's patient 56. And that's fly ball right field. Mercer puts it away. Retires aside. We go to the top of the 4th. The Cubs are bringing up King Kong Kingman, Bill Buckner, and Steve Olivares. Here's the pitch from Zachary. And that's in play 0-3, and that's going to be a ball that's pulled down the line into the left field corner, and Henderson chases after it, and Kingman into second base with a stand-up double. And it's Billy Buckner now. There's no score in this game here in the top of the 4th, and that's in play 26. In play 26 is going to be a base hit. Runner on second scores. Rounder up the middle. Mazzilli gets it in, but Kingman's going to score on that single. So Kingman comes around. It's 1-0 Cubs. And will Kingman steal? He had 9 stolen bases. Let's try it. 3. Oh, nope. Steve Olivares now. It's a switch hitter. That's a 9. That's in play 66. And that's out range. That's a grounder to second base. It's going to be a fielder's choice. Flynn to Taveras for out number 1. Who's that? Hey, man. Jerry. How are you, brother? It's a 1-0 ball game here in the 4th. There's 1 out. It's Steve Olivares on first. Now, he's not a threat to steal. He had only 1 stolen base. Jerry Martin, the batter. He's 0 for 1. Here's the pitch from Zachary. And that's an in-play 23. In-play 23 is going to be a single. And it's a sharp liner. Drops in front of Henderson. And runner advances 1 base. So Olivares doesn't really have good speed. He stops at second. But it's first and second. 1 out. And the batter's Tim Blackwell. He's filling in for Foote here in the second game of a doubleheader. Here's the pitch from Zachary. That's a 7. You can't really see it. It's all the way in there. In play 56. In play 56. That's going to be an out. Maybe a double play. It's a ground ball second base. We rolled a 7 for Pat Zachary. Now it's going to be a fielder's choice. So we're going to have to put in fielder's choice. It's going to be a 4-6 fielder's choice. Over to third goes on Averis. Safe at first is going to be is going to be Tim Blackwell. And now the pitcher. Now, pitcher Kruko is a heck of a batter, heck of a hitter here. He's 14. Let's see what happens here. Runs on first and third, 2 outs, top of the fourth. The Cubs already lead at 1-0. And that's a 10. That's in play, 80. That's going to be an out range. I don't care how good a hitter he is. And that's going to be a fly ball center field. Mazzilli in. And that retires the side. So we go to the bottom half of the fourth inning. Mets offense, again, they've only managed 1 hit. So this has been an ongoing issue with the Mets. Their bats have died. And that's in play, 55. And that's going to be a grounded to third on Averis. 5-3, 1 down. Richie Hebner. And that's a 10 range. I'm going to pull a range card. And second base range, a 30. And that's going to be a hit. Actually, no, we got to, hold on, we have to look at second base. And that's going to be Sizemore. He's a range A, so that's not going to be a hit. Not going to be a hit. It's going to be an out, 4-3. 2 down now. That threw me off a little bit, that range result on the cards. Some cards have that. And now it's Willie Montanez. Willie Montanez is 0 for 1. We're in the bottom of the fourth, 1-0 Cubs. It's patient 44. And that's going to be a base hit. So Montanez singles, 2-out single. Montanez is on at first, not a threat to steal. And it's Steve Henderson. And that's a 6. That's a tough 74 is skied center field. Jerry Martin in and retires aside. All right, we go to the top of the fifth. The game is really moving along now. It's Pat Zachary versus Ivan De Jesus. Pat Zachary came over in the Seaver trade, and it's tough 97. And that's a fly ball to left. 1 down. Ted Sizemore, who's 0 for 2. That's patient 83. It's a ground that is short. Taveras fires to first. 2 down. And it's Bobby Mercer. And that's Wheelhouse for Mercer, 47. Wheelhouse 47 is going to be a base hit, single. Mercer lines it to right. So Mercer is not a threat to steal. At one time, I think he was. Not anymore. Not by 79. Here's Dave Kingman, King Kong Kingman, who's got tremendous power. Versus righties in the wheelhouse, it's 1-73 for a home run. So a 73% chance once you get to the wheelhouse. And that's a patient 90. So that's going to be an out. That's going to be a ground that is short. And that's Taveras. Flips to Flynn for out number 3. It's going to be Ron Hodges, a replacement catcher for Stearns here in the second game of a doubleheader. We're using actual lineups. And that's a 9. That's patient 36. Patient 36 is going to be a base on balls. So Hodges is on at first. He's not a threat to steal. And it's Doug Flynn now. And that's a 6. That's tough. A tough 0-8 is a strikeout. Flynn goes after the curveball. Not pretty. And now we have a Zachary, who's a D bunter. He's going to try to bunt. A D is going to be a sacrifice hit. Successful. Third baseman. And that moves the runner over. And now it's Joe Youngblood. Youngblood is 1 for 1. He's singled and walked with Hodges on at second. And that's a 5. In play 30. That's going to be a wild pitch. So Kruko throws it away. And Hodges hustles over to third. And here's the pitch to Youngblood. That's Snake Eyes. Ballpark 18. Okay, a righty here at Shea is 1-33. So it's not really a good wheelhouse ballpark, especially for righties. But it falls in the ballpark of Youngblood, who's 1-22 is a home run, 23-29 is a double. It goes all the way to 47, so see what we roll. Let's pull these cards out. these dice out. And let's see. And that's a 20. That's a deep drive to left field. Back goes Kingman to the track, to the wall. Looks up. It's out of here. Joe Youngblood gives the Mets the lead, 2-1. Connects here with 2 outs in the bottom half of the 5th inning. So Mike Krukow wishes he had that pitch back. And now it's Frank Taveras steps into the box. Here's the pitch from Krukow. And that's a 3. Defense 20. We're going to see what that is. An error center field. Center fielder's Jerry Martin. Jerry Martin is a 2. We rolled a 20. And that's going to be an error for the center fielder. What kind of error is that for an outfielder? It's a single plus an error. So Frank Taveras singles, and he's going to be at second base on the Martin error. So he goes to single plus an error on the center fielder Martin. No, we're going to have to redo that. So we're going to try that again. Single, we're going to give him a single. And then he goes to second, error, center field. There we go. Now we got it. He's at second. So Frank Taveras is at second with 2 outs. The Mets lead at 2-1 thanks to the 2-run homer by Joel Youngblood. And here's Lee Mazzilli, switch hitter batting left versus the righty Krukow. That's a 9. That's patient. 96. That's going to be out range. It's going to be a fly to left. Kingman, not known for his glove, but makes the catch. That retires the side, excuse me. And Pat Zachary. The pitch to Bill Buckner. Here's the pitch. And that's a 6. There's action in the Met bullpen now, 78. And that's going to be popped up to the right side. Flynn calling for it, makes the catch. Next is Steve Olivares. And that's a 7, in play, 62. And that's going to be fly ball to right. 2 down, and Jerry Martin now. Jerry Martin is 1 for 2. And that's in play, 16. That's going to be line base hit to left. Martin's on with a single. Martin's not a threat to steal. Tim Blackwell, the catcher, he's 0 for 2. And that's a 4 tough. A 23 is a strikeout. Blackwell goes after the high cheese, strikes out. That retires the side, excuse me. And Mike Krukow on the mound for the Cubs. Richie Hebner. We're picking up the pace here, bottom of the 6th. Snake Eyes Ballpark, 27 versus a lefty. That's going to be Wheelhouse. Wheelhouse versus a righty. 1-22 is out of here. And that's way out of Wheelhouse. 61 is going to be a ground that is short. Ivan De Jesus, 6'3", 1 down. Next is Willie Montanez. Montanez is 1 for 2. And that's Ballpark, 98. That's going to be in play. In play, 86. That's an easy out. Grounded is second. Sizemore over to Buckner, 2 down. And Stevie Henderson. And that's tough. Tough, 96. It's going to be a fly to left. Dave Kingman makes the catch. Retire the side. Hey, I got it. And we go to the top of the 7th. It's a 2-1 ball game. Mets up here at Shea Stadium. And it's Mike Krukow, and we are going to get pinch hitter. It's going to be Scott Thompson, a lefty, for Krukow. Here's the pitch. Zachary to Scott Thompson. There's Orozco and Bernard up in the Mets bullpen. That's a patient 17 is going to be a base on balls. So Thompson walks, and he may, you know what? He may steal. Let's see what happens. Nope. And it's the top of the order, Ivan De Jesus. And Ivan De Jesus is an A bunter. He's going to bunt. Bunts him over to second, to the catcher, to the second baseman. So it's going to be 2-4. And that's going to move Thompson over to second. So the tying run is at second base now. It's going to be Ted Sizemore. Here's the pitch. It's a 7. In play, 43. In play, 43 is outrange. It's going to be grounded to third. Hebner looks Thompson back to second, across the diamond, And he's got Sizemore, 5-3, 2 down. And now it's a lefty, Bobby Mercer, and we're going to bring in Orozco. Bobby Mercer bats 143 versus lefty. So we're going to bring in Orozco. Orozco is actually one of I think the second highest paid player. The first highest paid player on the Mets is Hebner at 200,000 in 1979. So Jesse Orozco's coming in for Pat Zachary. And we will have to pull a double switch here. And we're going to put Beauclair in left. Bruce Beauclair is going to play left field. Actually, you know what? Yeah, let's do that. Actually, we're going to put Maddox out there in left. Maddox is in left. Maddox is going to bat ninth, in the ninth spot. And then we're going to replace Zachary with Orozco. And then he's going to bat in the Henderson spot. And that was, I believe, 6. All right, that was a double switch. They're talking about bringing the DH to the National League, and I just love the pitcher batting. I don't know why. I didn't really care for it years ago, but now I really got hooked on it. So Jesse Orozco is going to face Bobby Mercer. Here's the pitch to Mercer. And that's a tough 28. A tough 28. It's going to be a base hit. And a single. Runner's going to score. And we're going to double check that. So that's a tough. And a 28. It's going to be a base hit against against a lefty. Look at that. Ha! We saved the day. We double checked. Look at that. We forgot to look at the left side. And since he only bats 143 versus lefty, Joe Torre, manager extraordinaire, brings in Orozco and strikes out Mercer. So Mercer strikes out, and that ends the inning. We go to the bottom of the seventh. Kruko is no longer there. He was pinch hit for. So we are going to we're going to look quickly at who pitched that day. It's Tidrow. All right. Ex-Yankee. That's exciting for me. I'm a big Yankee fan. I think Tidrow's going to come in there. He's going to pitch. Let's see if he's written in already. I thought he was. Nope. So we're going to write in Dick Tidrow. All right, Dick Tidrow is going to be facing Hodges, Flynn, and Elliot Maddox. Came in on a double switch. So here's the pitch from Tidrow. It's 2-1 Mets in the bottom half of the seventh inning. And that's a tough 57, tough 57. We have fly ball popped up. And that's a high fly. Kingman coming in, Olivares going out, and he calls for it. Olivares makes the catch. One down, and it's Doug Flynn. Doug Flynn is 0 for 2, and that's a 7. That's a tough 0-5, and that's a strikeout. Flynn down on strikes. The high cheese got him. And it's Elliot Maddox. What do we do with Elliot Maddox? Let's see. We have him here. There he is. That's a 7. Tough 75. Tough 75 out range. Skied center field. Jerry Martin is there. 3 up, 3 down. We go to the top of the eighth. Orozco lefty is going to face Kingman, Buckner, and Olivares. Here's the pitch. And that's a 9. That's ballpark. 83. That's in play. Thank goodness for that. And that's a 38. In play 38 is out range. And it's popped up. Third baseman Richie Hebner makes the grab. 1 down. Now Buckner, who batted 262 versus lefties. That's 9. That's ballpark. A 54 ballpark is in play. In play versus a lefty, we rolled a 90. That's way out of range, and that's a fly ball to right field. Youngblood there makes the catch. And it's Steve Onivera, switch hitter. He's batting righty versus the lefty Orozco. Versus lefties, he batted 286. That's Snake Eyes, tough 0-8. And that's going to be a strikeout. Oniveros goes after the curveball. That retires the side. We go to the bottom half of the 8th inning. Dick Tidrow still on the mound for the Cubs against Joel Youngblood, who's 2 for 2. He singled, walked, and hit a home run. 2-run shot. They gave the Mets the lead. It's 2-1 as it stands right now in the bottom of the 8th. And that's a tough 0-6. A tough 0-6 is a strikeout. Frankie Taveras, who's 1 for 3. I have to roll that again. It's cocked 3. A patient 33. And that's going to be a base hit. Single for Taveras, single to left. And Dave Kingman gets it in. And Taveras is always a threat to steal. He runs at a 6. And we rolled a double sixes, so that's not going to do it. And it's going to be Lee Mazzilli now. That's patient 31. And I double check for the wild pitch. Sometimes they're 30 to 34 or whatever that is. It's only 30. So 31 is going to be a 631 is going to be patient 31, and that's going to be a base on balls. So runners on first and second. Mazzilli gets the walk. He's on at first. Frank Taveras on at second. It's Richie Hebner with 1 out. It's a lefty. Let's see who we have here. I think we have Willie Hernandez. We're going to bring in Willie Hernandez. He's a lefty in the Chicago bullpen. And there we go. Willie's in. And Willie will be batting in the, I guess, the 9th spot for now. We won't be doing any double switches right here. Willie Hernandez. Okay. So here's the pitch to Hebner. Hebner bats 219 versus lefties, 291 versus righties. So we made the right move. That's a 10 in play 63. In play 63. That's going to be a grounded to short. That may be a double play. No, it's too high. It's above the pitcher's DP. So it's going to be a fielder's choice. It's going to be a 6-4 fielder's choice. De Jesus flips to Sizemore. Moving to third is Taveras. And forced out at second is the runner at first, whoever that was. And Hebner's on at first now. So it's first and third, 2 out. 2-1 Mets here in the bottom of the 8th. And Willie Hernandez facing the lefty, Willie Martinez. The battle of the Willies. Not very pretty to hear that. Maybe it would go better in Greenwich Village. In play 66. In play 66. And that's going to be a grounded to short. And De Jesus across the diamond throws out. That retires his side. We go to the 9th inning, top of the 9th inning. And going to have a new pitcher for the Mets. It's going to be Skip Lockwood. Actually, you know what? We may bring Neil Allen. We're going to bring in Neil Allen. Neil Allen's been a heck of a pitcher for the Mets lately. I think he's pitched in 3 or 4 straight games. And it's going to be Neil Allen coming in. Going to wear him out. Hey, man, Benny B is here. Benny B in the house. All right. Sometimes I can see what you guys write. Sometimes I don't really notice because I'm in the game. And sometimes I just can't see. I have some bifocals, and I can't see with the bottom reading part, and I can't see with the top part. So I got to get myself some progressives, but I haven't had the time to do that. So Neil Allen's going to come in. He's going to pitch. And to Jerry, he's going to face Jerry Martin here in the top of the 9th inning. The Mets are up 2-1, so Neil Allen is trying for the save. It's Jerry Martin, Tim Blackwell, and then a pinch hitter for Willie Hernandez. Here's the pitch to Jerry Martin. It's a 7. That's a tough 38. Against a righty is going to be a strikeout. So Martin goes after the high cheese, and he's down on strikes. And now it's Tim Blackwell. It's a switch hitter batting lefty. And that's a 5. That's in play 0-3, and that's going to be a triple. Blackwell pulls one down the line, and that rattles around in the corner. Youngblood after it, and rustling around second is Tim Blackwell, and he's going to make it all the way to third base. And he is a good base runner because he's got a 7 there. So smart base runner Tim Blackwell with a 1-out triple, and that's trouble for the Mets in a 2-1 game here. So Mets are going to have to play the infield in, and it's going to be a pinch hitter now for the pitcher. And these are the guys that played in this game. Mike Vail, he's a righty, so he won't be coming in. We're going to bring in a lefty. Let's see who else played this one. Bittner pinch hit. Bittner's a lefty, and Bittner bats 400 versus lefties, but 272 versus righties. But he will be batting here in the place of Willie Hernandez, the relief pitcher, with a runner on third. The infield's going to be in. 79 Cubs had a decent, yeah. Okay, so this is the situation. Let's set it up. It's the top of the ninth inning. The Mets are up 2-1. There's 1 out, and Tim Blackwell just hit a triple, so he's standing at third base. Now, we're not going to pinch run for him because he's a good runner at a 7 number. And so we're forced to bring the infield in here in this situation. Bases are not loaded, so this is our little card here that we actually printed out from an email that that Joe sent us when I couldn't understand really what the board said. So he just simplified it for me. And so this is bases loaded. Tim Blackwell is on at third. It's a 2-1 game. Tying run is 90 feet away. Larry Bittner, left-handed batter, batted 272 versus righties. Neil Allen is on the mound for the Mets. Neil Allen was 6-10 with a 3.55 ERA. And here goes the pitch. That's a 9. That's in play. An in play 93. And that's going to be a ground ball. Actually, that's going to be lined and caught by the second baseman, Flynn. And we use the modifier for that those 5 numbers, the last 5 numbers. So that's going to be a line drive. Bittner hits it right on the nose, but smacks it right at Flynn at second base. And Blackwell's going to have to hold up. So that saved the day right there. Now it's Ivan De Jesus, right-handed shortstop. He's 1 for 3 on the day versus righties. He batted 287. So here goes here's the pitch from Allen. The Cubs are down to their last out. They're down by 1, 2-1 with the tying run 90 feet away at third base and Tim Blackwell. And we're going to use that. That's a 9. That's in play. An in play 62 versus a righty is going to be outrange, and that's going to be popped up to the right side. Willie Montanez calls for it, makes the catch. The game is over. The Mets win. The Mets win. And now I got to tell you, we got to look at this replay because this was huge. In our replay, the Mets are 13-25. Now let's see what happened in reality in this game. In reality, the Mets actually won. So in reality, they're 14-24. In the replay, we're 13-25. So we're 1 win away from replicating the exact record of the Mets in game number 38. Next, we're going to go to game 39. It's going to be a 3-game set versus the Pirates. Let me give you the line score. Mets win this one by the skin of their teeth. The Cubs had a runner on third with only 1 out, and a line drive hit at Flynn. Yep, it's amazing. They're the Amazons. And it was a line drive hit at Flynn, and then the last out was a De Jesus popped up to the right side, and Willie Montanez made the catch, and the Mets win it by a score of 2-1. The win is going to go to, I guess, the starting pitcher for the Mets, who was Pat Zachary, and I believe so. Yeah, and the losing pitcher is going to be Kruko, who started it for the Cubs. And the line score, the Cubs had 1 run, 8 hits, 1 error, 9 left on base. The Mets had 2 runs, 5 hits, no errors, and 6 left on base. Yes, I'm using iScore, man. Here, let me show you. Let me show you the stats. Right here in iScore, you got all the stats. Let's say you want to see the stats for Youngblood. You just click on his name. There he goes. Oh. And this is the team stats. He's got 132 plate appearances, 120 at bats. I don't know if you could see that. It just went away. Hold on. All right, you can see that now. And he's batting 242. He's got 4 stolen bases, he's got 1 sacrifice, 5 home runs, 16 RBIs. Let's look at Lee Mazzilli, who's the top batter for the Mets. So I've got everything going on here and using my technology. So Mazzilli, man, he's at 377, 151 at bats. He's got 57 hits. He's got 15 RBIs, 8 stolen bases, and home runs. He's got 4. Who else? Let's look at Montanez. Flynn was having a terrible beginning of the season. Montanez batting 243 with 2 home runs. Let's look at Flynn. Flynn was having a terrible. He's got a lot of RBIs, but wasn't hitting very well. Let's see if that changed since the last time I looked. I really don't care too much about stats. I'll look at them at the end just to compare them and to show everybody. Okay, Flynn is at 189, so he's struggling. Batted like 220 in reality. But he's got 22 RBIs and almost 100 at bat, a little bit more than 100 bats. So he's on a pace to have 100 RBIs for an 8th place hitter. That's interesting. But anyway, that's all she wrote for. So the stats are there, and I'm going to set up now for the next series. I probably won't play any more games tonight. I played 2 in the last couple hours. It was a doubleheader on May 24th. It says it over here. It was May 24th. It was a doubleheader game, 37 and 38. The Mets split the doubleheader. So Pat Zachary is going to get the win for the Mets. Orozco is going to get a hold, and the save is going to go to Allen. And the loss is going to go to Kruko. Close game. Yep, that's it, man. That's what makes it all worthwhile. Let's hold on to win one. You know, I mean, they had 60. I think it was 63 wins, I believe. So it's going to be a long season of losing. But hey, I'm gonna enjoy every single victory. You know, I'm gonna really celebrate it. How about a replay of that triple? LOL. Yeah. So that's about it. And backing out of this thing. That was a good game. And I'm going to add a game. And it's the visitors going to be the Pirates. I'm going to double check that. Pirates are the visitors. It's a 3-game series or a 4-game series with the Pirates here at Shea Stadium. Let me double check that. It's going to be a 4-game series with the Pirates starting May 25th, 1979. And I'll tell you who the pitching matchups are. Pitching matchups are going to be Rooker versus Swan. Swan is actually the Mets ace, so they should have a good opportunity to win that one. Swan had a pretty good season, won 14 games with a team that lost 99. So the Cubs go heading back to wherever they're heading back to. I'm going to put them away. And that's all she wrote for the Cubs. That was a fun little series there. Orozco's with the Mets and Wrigley Field. Gonna wrap it up. Gonna put everybody in rubber band and get the Pirates. Here come the Pirates at Three River Stadium, although we're gonna be at Shea Stadium. And we're gonna bring out who was it? Craig Swan versus Rooker. Now remember, the Pirates made it all the way to the World Series, so they have a heck of a lineup. Stargell, Nicosia, Stennett, Berra, Moreno, Garner, Parker, Robinson. We got to put a couple of these guys, especially Stargell, who was co-MVP with Keith Hernandez, and we don't even have him in a sleeve. That is heresy. So now he's in a sleeve. Dale Berra, what man? He was a disaster. But we're going to double check this lineup. We're going to double check the lineup for the Mets as well. Willie Hernandez goes with the Cubs. I just saw him sticking out here. And let's see. We're looking for Rooker. I really love Payoff Pitch. Why? Because they have all these pitchers and all these players, man, in their regular set. Come on. Nobody does this. just for that reason, I'm supporting him 110%. I think I've got every set except for 94. It's stuff in the 50s, in the 40s, I think. I'm not sure if he has that, but I don't go that far. I've got everything up to 94. I don't have 94, and I don't have 13, 14, 15. I have 15. I don't have 13, 14, and I don't have 16 or 17. I have 18. The modern years, I'm not too crazy about. I don't play too much the modern stuff. So I'll play with what I have, but I like the 70s and I like the 80s stuff. So I'm getting all his 70s and 80s. And I'll even get the 60s because I love Sandy Koufax. So Jim Rooker is going to be put in a sleeve, although he's not really a Hall of Fame caliber player to deserve a sleeve. But I'm being kind since he's a pitcher and I do manhandle him a little bit so to avoid him getting real ugly. And I'll tell you the lineup: Moreno, Foley, and Parker. I'm setting that up. Moreno, Foley, and Parker. Let's see where was that lineup? All right, Foley's in the game. Here it is. Okay, Moreno, Foley, Parker, Stargell, Lacey, guy named Lacey, Ott, Berra, and Rooker. Ott, Berra, and Rooker. Where's Stennett? Stennett's not playing. No, Lacey's playing second base. So Lacey. There he is. Lacey. Oh, Milner's in there. Where's John Milner? He was an ex-Met. He was in the Mets since '73. I think he was their best home run hitter with like 10 home runs. Something ridiculous. That was a terrible Mets season. They barely broke 500 and they made it to the World Series. So let's see. Lacey, and then after Lacey, it's Milner, then Lacey, then Ott and Berra. And I always call him Mel Ott. He's Ed Ott, right? Ed Ott and Berra. Where's Berra? Do I have him here? Or do I have him on the table? Berra's on the table. So it's Berra, Ott, and Berra. And then Rooker is a 3 batter, so we're going to get a pitcher hitting card 3. Pitcher hitting card 3. And we're set up. The Pirates are set, ready to roll. We just have to input them into iScore. We'll be playing this at 5 a.m. tomorrow morning. We'll get to bed early tonight to be able to wake up, have energy to do that. Going to do a little shuffling here of our fast action cards. Now I have the 91 set coming my way. I want to replay the, who did I want to replay? I can't remember. I think it was the Mets again. Who knows? Maybe I just put them on my shelf and leave them there. As long as I'm encouraging Joe to make some more cards. I can't take the money with me. Not that there's any money, but if I had any money, I couldn't take it with me. So the little I do have, I want to buy some cards with it. And that's about it, man. I gave you a chit chat. All the things that I do here to get ready. So now the Mets lineup. Gonna look at that. Youngblood's leading off. Mets lineup. So Youngblood's leading off. And it's going to be Youngblood, Taveras, Mazzilli, Hebner. Stearns is back in the lineup. Then it's Montanez. So let's get Stearns. Let's pull Stearns out. Stearns out of all these areas. So it's going to be Stearns, Montanez. Stearns, Montanez, Henderson, Flynn, and Swan is a 3 as well. So we need 2 3 cards. 2 3s. There he is. And he's ready. And I put it to the side, Rooker on top. Jim Rooker's a lefty, so it's a righty versus a lefty. So I'm going to have to keep on reminding myself. Makes me go crazy. I'd rather have 2 righties or 2 lefties. When I have 1 lefty, 1 righty, I have to keep on double checking, especially when I'm trying to move fast. Yeah, but I've learned to, like, when there's a big hit or a home run or something that makes a difference, I double and triple check, like with that there was one out against Orozco. I can't remember what it was, but I called it a hit, and then I double checked, and Orozco was a lefty, and that was against Mercer, and it was actually an out. It was a strikeout, so that saved the day there. So going back and double checking is what I've learned to do, because you have a lot going on here, and then especially when I have a lefty, one guy's a lefty versus a righty, and then I make pitching changes, and the lefty becomes a righty, and the righty becomes a lefty on the other team, and I got to really focus 110%. So anyway, that's it for the game. Now yesterday, I put together. I was able to pick up for about, I think it was about $12, 11, 13, $13. The XB APA set for 2009. I picked up the 2009 set for $20, but it didn't have XBs. So I picked up the XBs for another $13. So now I have another 10 players per team. And because I want to do some, I don't know, I want to do some APA 2009. I don't know what I'm doing. It's a great season for the Yanks. And I want to do something there. Maybe a Cano, something. I don't know what I'm doing, but who's that? Hey, Bleacher Bums, how are you, man? I'm doing the expose here of my plans to what I'm doing with my APA 2009, which I picked up at a fair price. The APA prices have crashed and burned, man. I don't know what's up with that, but I don't mind because I just buy it to play it. But I like that. I rather have seasons available at at reasonable prices as opposed to trying to collect another set of cards at $2, $3, $4, $500 for a season, and then you're missing most of the cards, and you have to have an app that you have to pay for every month. Now that's a drag. I love it. I love the system, and I love the cards, and I love the whole thing, and I love the community. But it's a drag, man, because you spent $1,000. I probably have 7, 8 seasons, and I'm probably into the whole thing. Well, I have 7, 8 seasons of the expensive ones, and then I'm into the whole thing probably for a couple $1,000, and that's pretty crazy. And thin card stock. At least these cards are really thick and heavy duty, but it is what it is. Beggars can't be choosers, I guess. But yeah, I'm glad APA's prices have really come down. I was able to pick 15. I picked up, and I did a video of that. I picked up 15 seasons for like $150. It was really $100, but then I had to pay shipping. But then he took off $15, so it was about $135. So figure, hard to 30. It's more about $9 a season approximately, which is crazy. And they all had XBs. There was a couple seasons with no XBs, and I bought those online for like $3.99 plus shipping, $3.99. So that I invested a little bit, and I have those XBs lying around. I got to fill them into I have all the 80s teams all the way into the 90s, and most of the 90s teams up to like 98 for APA. Now the issue is that the issue I have with APA is with the issue that everybody has, and that is when you play basic, it's only got 4 grades, and then I know it's the XY and then the W and all that, but it still seems like 4 grades to me. And then I have the Merino boards, but I got to learn those. So then I'm gonna have to play. The game's gonna take me forever. And the thing I like about APA is I can kind of get it going because I know it by heart. I know all the numbers by heart. But then once I have to learn the Merino boards, that's like, am I taking this really serious? It would be me taking it really seriously to learn a whole new set of boards for a game that I sometimes play. I don't play that much. So that's the issue where I stand on that. So I mentioned that now History Maker Baseball. I love History Maker Baseball. Again, the card's a little bit flimsy to me. I'm a card guy, and I play that set, and the cards kind of just very thin card stock, and they don't have much life to them, and that's the only disappointing thing. I love the system. The system is fabulous, and I mean I like it. Some of the cards are a little bit smaller. It's a cool system. I just haven't gotten around to playing it. And mainly because if they made some nice cards, some nice sturdy cards with some color on them, like some guys have out there, and I've looked around for somebody to make them for me. I said, hey, I'll pay, but they're like, oh, then I'm cutting in onto the owner's action. No, you're not. Because if the owner's not making them and you're making them, so I'll pay you. When the owner starts making them, I'll pay him. So I don't see what's wrong with that. And I don't see why the owner doesn't come out and just say, hey, if guys want to make cards for other guys that I'm not making, I'm not talking about new seasons. I'm talking about seasons that are there that I own, but I want better cards. I'll buy new cards just to make them nicer cards. And some guys have some really nice cards. And there's actually they shared and I know you guys know this. They shared a program that you can make your own cards. But if I'm making my own cards and spending, just like if I'm making my own labels, if I'm spending 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 hours doing that, that's taken away from my rolling, from my games, from the joy of that 2-run homer in the bottom of the ninth, the RBI single, walk-off single, that 3-hitter that's striking out the side, all those great things. I'm losing all that because I'm making labels, and I don't want to make labels. I don't want to make cards. I want to buy the cards and just roll the dice, and that's what I did when I was a kid, and that's what I still like in my, childlike adulthood. So I gave you that. What else am I missing? I talked payoff pitch. I talked strat. I talked ABBA. I talked History Maker baseball. Oh, Status Pro, man. I'm doing the Yankee 85 replay. I'm in the 40s already. I started that in summer. And I'm loving Status Pro. I tried it with dice just to change up a little bit, but you know what? I ended up liking the cards better. It's kind of much smoother with the cards once you start flipping and flipping and flipping. But I really, really like Status Pro because how the mechanics and how smooth they integrated, like outfielder's arm, taking the extra base. You'll get a lot of 3-to-1s, which in no other game do I see very many 3-to-1s. I always have to just make them up. You'll get wild pitches, you'll get pass balls. They're kind of written into you'll get the hit by pitch. They're written onto the cards. So it's very realistic. So there's a lot of really cool things with Status Pro. And the greatest thing is that you can get PDFs for $10. You can get any season you want. 1971, my strat season, missing tons of players. I think I have the R, right? It's the second time around that they made it, or the third time around. I don't know, but it's got I think 27 cards per team. Now, for a guy that does actual lineups, that's not going to be enough for me. So then I'm going to have the app. I pay for that. But I'm still going to be missing cards, and then I got to pull up the guy on the app, and then I got to hold my phone, and I film with my phone. So then I got to use it. It's a whole thing. Just make all the cards, man. That's how I feel about it. I know a lot of guys play leagues and stuff like that, and they don't care. They just use 20 guys or the best 20 guys. But that's not me. I like the history, enjoying the history. A lot like Dave's doing right now, right? Demo Dave is getting into the soul, the spirit of the White Sox, and he's learning about everything about it. It's like watching a tabletop history channel game, and I love it. And I listen to it on the way to work, and sometimes I listen to it back from work, and it's great stuff. And he plays a super advanced strat. I can't play super advanced strat because my brain explodes, but I'm learning a lot. I want to do the pass balls and I want to do the wild pitches because they seem to be pretty simple to do, and I'm trying to learn them. So I continue to do that, but that's what I'm talking about. So I think I've done the chit chat long enough for you guys to keep you guys entertained a little bit. And I don't have very much else to say. I'll show you what I can't see that. Anyway, but I laminated this thing. I got this online, right? These used to come with the sets, and I know you guys got this. I never got it because I'm new to the payoff pitch, but I made this myself. It was on the site, and I printed it out, and then I took it and had it laminated. I don't use it because I like the black background, but I may use it one of these days. Who knows? Just to give the flavor of payoff pitch. What else I want to talk to you about? The last thing I'm talking to you about is I watched the Houston Astros Mets game today, and two players that I actually was very, very close to played. One was the shortstop Jack Mayfield of the Houston Astros. He grew up in a place called Del Rio where I spent 8 years. He was my son's coach, my son's trainer, and he's playing AAA. Hasn't made it to the majors yet, but he's played AAA and he holds his own, batting .270. He plays second, third, and shortstop. The other player that you're not going to believe this, he was first round 17 pick for the Astros, $3 million bonus baby, is at 18 years old. 19, I think he was 19 years old. Is Forrest Whitley. A few years back, I worked at a school, and he was one of the students in the class that I worked in. So I had a lot of interactions with him. When he was a senior in high school, he broke his finger lifting weights in his room, and he missed the first part. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yep. So my son actually played fall ball with Forrest Whitley on the same team. Now, Forrest never pitched in fall ball because he had just come back from Japan in 2015, the fall of 2015, returned from Japan. And you can look that up on YouTube, Forrest Whitley in Japan. And he had just returned, and they were resting him until springtime, his senior year. But every time he pitched, you saw all the TVs, the local news stations, at the ballpark, at the field, the high school field, to talk to and to film Forrest Whitley, because they knew he had a lot of scouts, eyeing him, and he went 17th. Now he's the #1 pitching prospect in the country. And I'll tell you a funny story, a funny anecdote. He would get a phone call. He would look at he'd look at his phone, and he'd say, "I got to take this." He'd stand up and he'd walk out of the class, and I go, "Where are you going?" And I wouldn't say anything to him, but when he would leave, his friends, his classmates would look at me and say, "Oh yeah, he's getting calls from the major leagues. They're calling him. The phone doesn't stop ringing." And I was like, "Wow, okay. So what am I going to say to that, right?" Anyway, he ended up getting a bonus of $3 million. Right now, I think, I don't know, but he had an issue last year he was suspended for 50 games. He was driving from, I think, Dallas to San Antonio. They live here near me, about 10 minutes away, in a place called Alamo Heights. He went to Alamo Heights High School. And he's the #1 pitching prospect in the country. And, I used to be very, very close to him on a daily basis. So anyway, that's the story. He pitched today, by the way. He pitched 2 innings, retired 6 batters, and struck out 3, allowed no hits, no walks. And the first grounder was the Del Rio connection. It was Del Rio San Antonio connection, because the first batter grounded out to Jack Mayfield, who taught my son to play shortstop. My son plays shortstop, third base, second base on his high school team, Clark High School, here in San Antonio. So anyway, that's the story of my life, and I'm going to say goodbye to you guys. And I'm going to go rest a little bit. I set up this game probably for tomorrow morning. I get up at 5, unless I really have trouble sleeping for whatever reason, and I sleep right through that till 6. But otherwise, I wake up at 5, I come out here, I roll a dice, and it's going to be a 4-game set versus the Pittsburgh Pirates. It's going to be Craig Swan on the mound, who was 14-13 with 3.29 ERA, against Jim Rooker, and Jim Rooker was 4-7 with a 4.60 ERA. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And thanks for stopping by, guys, and hearing me out. And I'll see you guys rolling soon somewhere, and streaming the game or whatever. I'm a baseball guy, so if I don't come up on your boxing or on your car racing or on all these cool things that you guys do, nothing wrong with it. It's just that I'm a baseball fanatic, and I'm a one-sport guy in tabletop. Even though I used to play a lot of APA football, but I love baseball. Baseball's my life. So anyway, I guess when I pass, I'm gonna ask them in my will to put one set. Got to figure out one set I want in my casket with me, and I'm gonna figure out that one set. What that one set is gonna be, I haven't figured it out yet. But anyway, I'm gonna say adios to you guys, and Combat Painter will be back with more tabletop baseball, payoff pitch, and maybe some APA, maybe eventually some Strat, maybe some Status Pro, whatever it is. But for now, I'm hooked on payoff pitch. All right.